Hi guys, I thought I would do a video on going through security with a RealCare. So I know that there's lots of videos out there about people that have gone through security with the reborns. And I know Crystal has even said going through security with a RealCare versus a reborn is completely different. So typically with a reborn, you can leave it in the bag if you have like a doll bag, or if you're carrying it in a duffel bag. You don't need to take it out of the bag to put it through the x-ray machine. Well, being the RealCares are electronic, you need to put them in your own bin. Crystal said when she came from Toronto, they didn't really say anything about it. But I know when I left Austin, I had already put her in her own bin, and they went back and forth a couple times with her. They ended up ultimately swabbing her. But I think if she would have been in a bag, they would have asked me to take her out of the bag. So I did have a bag when I traveled with her. I brought this bag. It was just a duffel bag. It's black with white spots. It's a pretty decent size on the inside duffel bag. I was able to lay her on her side. When I went to Minneapolis, I had some clothing and pajamas on the bottom of my own. That was just in case my checked bag got lost. On the way back, the towel that I purchased, I actually put under her. And I had all my clothes in my suitcase. And then I had that little pillow that Crystal gave me in with her. And then I had my toiletry bag in here with her. And it all fit nicely. I was able to zip it up, no issues. And I had other things in the pockets. But had I just left her in the bag to go through security, I am 99% sure I would have been asked to take her out in Austin. In Minneapolis, the three of us went through security at the same time. And so we were sent over to the family security line because we had the strollers. So we get over there. And I just took Oakley and put her in her own bin. Crystal, I think at first was going to just keep Veda in the bag again. Because she just had a Dolly bag. But she ended up taking her out. When Oakley went through, they kept, first of all, the person initially watching security x-ray kind of started chuckling, and her replacement was standing behind her. Well, then they kept scanning back and forth, and the guy was adamant, like, that's a bomb in there. There's something off about this. And then the lady that actually did the swabbing, she's like, no, that's one of those school dolls. It's just electronics in there. So she convinced them that Oakley was fine. So they let Oakley through. Oakley did not need to be swabbed in Minneapolis. So I was able to transfer her right into my Dolly bag, or into the bag that I brought for her, while I was waiting for Crystal and Heather, as well as my diaper bag, or my backpack, got flagged because I had baby wipes in it. Even though the lady literally is like, the baby wipes aren't even open. So she just let me go. But while I was waiting there and she was kind of looking through the bag on what possibly could have triggered it, I was putting Oakley in the bag, and she kept apologizing. I'm like, no, that's no problem. That gives me time to do this. So I got Oakley back in her bag. And honestly, going through security was not as stressful as I thought it would be. Going through with the RealCare, but they let Veda go through fine in Minneapolis. They did have to swab Mateo because his electronics were different, and he was a beginner care, so clearly his electronics were different. And since the two were the same and the one was different, that's why they needed to check Mateo. And of course, he checked out fine. But, you know, so a tip for me going through security with your baby, first of all, decide, do you want the baby to go in the overhead compartment when you're on the plane, or do you want to keep the baby with you? Because at takeoff and landing, it will need to go under the seat in front of you. They will not allow you to hold it in your arms during takeoff and landing. if you've got another bag, like my backpack had to go under the seat in front of me. Would Oakley have fit with my backpack? Probably. But I really didn't want to have to deal with her on the plane. I just wanted to get on the plane and watch my movies. And not have to worry about her and trying to get like 400 things off of the plane. So, like I said, I had this nice bag. When I got in the plane, this bag went in the overhead compartment above me. When I fly, I like to have my carry-on bag that goes in the overhead above me. I know some people like to have their bags up front because they don't want to carry them to the back of the plane. I'm weird like that. I like to have it by me. So having the bag, I was able to put her and other items I needed in this bag and put it in that overhead bin. As well as, you know, I could have taken a rolling suitcase, my smaller rolling suitcase. It would have fit on the overhead bins on this plane. But I didn't want to have to deal with 2 rolling suitcases for 1. And 2, excuse me. There are going to be some instances that the rolling suitcases do not fit in the overhead bins, so you will have to gate check them. When you get off the plane, they will pull those off first and put them back in that little area when you get off a plane where you have to do the gate checks. I didn't really want to risk it having to do that, and there's also possibilities that if you're on an overbooked flight or your flight is really full, that they will ask for people to volunteer to do the checking, do the gate check, and you can either get it back when you get on the other side, like when we got to Austin, or if you're going to another, you have a plane to catch from, or you have a layover and you've got another plane to catch, you can actually just check that bag all the way through and not have to pay the baggage fees. So some people choose to do that. But if there's no room, if they run out of room, some people are forced to. Now, if you have a smaller bag like this, they are not going to force you. If you're going to have a bigger rolling suitcase, they're more likely to force you, because if they've got 2 of these duffel-sized bags, these 2 duffel-sized bags take up about the same room as 1 rolling suitcase. So they're going to go with 2 of these in the overhead bin versus 1 rolling suitcase for 1. 2, being these are soft structured, they're gonna try to keep this on the plane more than a suitcase that has a form to it. So that's just kind of my tips on flying with a RealCare. I had my laptop, which I did put in my backpack. And I kept like my X stick, and I kept everything to have her work in the bag. So I have taken it out now, but like I had her RealCare outfits in this bag and everything. So everything to actually make her work properly was in the bag with her. And I believe Crystal did the same. Even with her Dolly bag, she had the handheld control in her backpack, I believe. So those are just kind of my tips. You know, don't stress yourself out if you're traveling with a RealCare. Be prepared that you're going to have security probably laughing at it as it goes through the x-ray machine. Be prepared that they're probably going to have to swab it. They had to swab her in Austin. And the guy was apologizing. I actually was laughing because he was afraid to touch her. So he thought he was going to break her. And, you know, I was kind of laughing about it. But I know there are going to be people out there freaking out about, oh my God, they're swabbing my doll. It's not going to hurt her. It's just like I want to say like a cottony type pad that they swab her with, and they run it through the machine to make sure there's no banned things on her that can cause issues on a plane. So just take it in stride. Try to arrive a little early. That's what I did to make sure, you know, if I did have an issue in security, we could get it worked out. So those are my tips on flying with a RealCare. I hope everybody has a great day. Bye!